Hello and welcome to another Demis Hellen tutorial. So I have been asked a lot of questions on upwards compression and why should you use it and what does it do, and it's not an essential tool to enhance your mixes or sounds or bus mixes or whatever, but it is a good tool for shaping sound. So with me understanding that you have a basic understanding of compression, if you don't, there is a video on screen now. If you watch that first and then come back to this, it'll make more sense. Downwards compression is set by a threshold, so if the sound goes over the threshold, it's reduced in volume, like physically reduced in volume. So it's reducing the difference between the highest peaks of the sound and the quietest. So the loud and the quiet are compressed, and it sounds like the quieter parts become louder, and that's only because they're squashed down. Now, upwards compression does the opposite way around. It still applies compression, but what it does is it has a threshold, and if the lower sounds don't reach the threshold, they are boosted, basically, and you start to change the tonal quality. So if you recorded, like if you took this voiceover that I'm doing right now, I'm pretty close to the mic, but there is some room noise still present in the vocal recording. Now, if I applied upwards compression to on the EQ, for example, you would hear more of that room because it would start bringing it out. It's still compressing it, but it's bringing more of it out. And you don't want to do that, so that's not a creative way to use it. However, OTT offers something unique with its upwards compression, which is it is multiband. There are other ones out there, but with it being free and having just simple, intuitive like controls, it just makes everything a lot easier. So let's play this sample, and I'll show you what's going on. Now, as you can see down the left-hand side, we have a bunch of numbers moving around quite erratically. And basically, if you're in the plus, you're doing upwards compression, and you're applying downwards compression if they're in the minus numbers. So as you can see, most of this is in the minus. It's like this one's ticking over just a little bit. So downwards compression is predominantly being applied. Now, as you can see, these little lines here, the blue is the signal, and the yellow dot signifies whether upwards or downwards compression is being applied. Now, upwards compression, you are going to see that yellow dot disappear into the blue signal, and if it's downwards, you can see that yellow dot surpassing the blue signal feed. So, indicated by the minus number, there is more downwards compression. The higher we go with downwards, you can see the further away these dots get. Okay, so if we was to apply upwards compression, upwards compression is now being applied because this yellow dot is sinking into the blue, and you're getting plus numbers. And then if we increase the upwards, you can see now we're in the plus numbers, we're not in the negative numbers. And what this is good at doing is applying extra tonal qualities and harmonics into your sound. So if you're wanting something on the mid-range, as an example, you would boost the mid-range. So let's have upwards compression fully up. So it's still compressing down. Let's just boost it. Okay, so we've now increased the amount of upwards compression, and you can see it's at 0. So let's keep going and boost it here with the gain. We are now applying just a very small amount of upwards compression, but we've changed the tonal quality of the sound by boosting frequencies that wouldn't otherwise be prominent in your sound. Another example of applying upwards compression is to add some serious sparkle / white noise into your synths, and that can be applied up here, which we just did. And now we're applying plus 12 of upwards compression there. So anything that is not reaching the threshold is automatically being boosted, and you're able to hear it a lot more, giving you a lot more detail coming out of your sound, but only on the high channel, not any of the mids or lows. So essentially, we can apply downwards compression to 2 channels and upwards to 1. And then control that with the attack and release with the time. Some dry signal in there. we've suddenly got something that you would normally boost with EQ to get that upper sound, that like harsh white noise sound, and we've just achieved it by just using a bit of upwards compression. So remember, downwards compression is reaching a threshold and then reducing, and the upwards compression is compressing, but if it's not reaching the threshold, i.e. the lower sounds, they are being boosted to make sure that they are heard, and the harder you push the upwards compression, the more they come out. So just think of it as downwards is squashing the loudest sounds down to make the difference between the lowest and the highest peaks less, so you can over compress and make it flat. And upwards compression is compressing at the same time, but it is boosting the signal that isn't reaching the threshold. And the best way to just quickly explain that visually, upwards compression is essentially doing this, and this is dynamic EQ, so it is compression upwards. So it's boosting the signal. Anything that's not reaching the threshold is being boosted over it. And then downwards, doing the opposite. Anything that is reaching the threshold is being squashed down. And that is as simple as it gets. If you're wanting to enhance tonal qualities, you can use upwards compression to do that rather than having to use an EQ and try and pluck bits out, because all that's doing is really raising what you can visually see, whereas the upwards compression's picking all the really low bits that don't really get noticed at all. They just get covered over and masked over. So there is several uses for it. You probably wouldn't use upwards compression for bass and stuff, but if you're being creative, yes you would. In what creative capacity, I don't know. It could be sound design possibly, but in trance production I tend to use it on the highs and the mids, more so the highs, and then you can kind of tame it back down with the depth knob here to mix more of the dry signal in, so you just get a nice blend of both, and it saves having to EQ and physically boost things when you can just like boost some of the quieter areas to give it a lot more harmonic content. So that just covers that very quickly. I hope it does answer a few questions. If you have any more questions, ask in the comments below, and I'm happy to help. I always answer everybody on here. So 2 videos a week that I upload, so hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and the bell icon so you can see when I upload and be one of the first to comment, and I'll pin the first person to comment from now on. And hit the like button as well, because it just helps share it around and other people can discover these tutorials and make their productions better as well. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.